Pioneer viewers, as you know, our agenda is Russia-Ukraine war. We continue to bring you developments regarding the war, while the parties continue their mutual attacks on the front line. The developments in the background reveal very important results, and managing the process in the times of the war requires great care and attention. So state administrators must keep the people together throughout the war, and if the unity and solidarity of the people is not ensured, support for the fighting army will diminish. The population as a whole must remain focused on the goal, and politicians and political leaders sometimes try to create perceptions in order to maintain their power and keep the people together. The sole purpose here is to keep the public at a certain point throughout the concepts of the friends and foe and to polarize them. In this way, it becomes quite easy to rule the public. After the start of the Russia's full-scale invasion attempt against Ukraine, the battlefield witnessed some interesting events. The strong resistance of the Ukrainian army prevented the Russian army from achieving its goals, and the war processes, which the whole world has been following with interest, has become very active in recent days. State leaders and non-governmental organizations have started to directly influence the war processes, and the attacks in Moscow in recent days has been one of the most striking events of the war process. Many people lost their lives after this attack, while many allegations about the attacks were on the agenda, and the latest news surprised those who heard it. According to the claims of the Russian opposition, the Moscow attack is not an ordinary attack. The statements of the dissidents who said that Moscow had a share in the attacks in order to rule the people easily spread to the thousands of people in a short time. Now, if you're ready, let's examine the latest developments together. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on Russia-Ukraine war, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all of your comments and I respond to them personally, so please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us. Let's start if you're ready, because I'm reporting. Incredible allegations have emerged after the recent attacks in Moscow. Russian dissidents claimed that the attacks was a planned attack, and Russian residents have begun accusing the country's governments of staging a false flag operations at the Moscow concert venue to justify attacks against Ukraine. The attack took place in the western part of Moscow and involved explosions and gunfire at the Kirkus Town Hall, a major music concert venue. According to the latest figures, at least 133 people were killed, and Russia's Federal Security Service and senior Russian officials have called it a terrorist attack. And the Russian authorities said that they detained 11 people in connection with the attack, including 4 allegedly directly involved in the attack. So, shortly after the attack, ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, and his first speech on this situation, Putin claimed that the Ukrainian authorities were coordinating with the gunmen to help them try to escape across the Ukrainian border. But he stopped short after all of the explicitly accusing the Ukrainian government of any interference. Putin's claims have yet to be verified, and Ukrainian authorities have flatly denied any involvement in the attack. Critics of Putin and the Russian government on social media have claimed that the attacks and the resulting images were orchestrated by the Kremlin. They claimed it was a false flag operation and potentially to be used as a pretext for further escalations of the ongoing war in Ukraine since 2022. The statement shared by social media users was shared by thousands of people in a short time. In the statements, it was generally stated that everything was more clearly understood. He stated that Moscow's statements after the attack revealed this situation. The statement said that easy rumors would spread that the vehicle with Ukrainian license plates was detected. Then Putin directly announced that Ukraine was preparing a crossing route to cross the border. Then, in a day or two, they will say that the Ukrainian special services are coordinating the terrorist actions. After a while, the Kiev regime will be accused of organizations and organizing this crime, and other measures such as mobilization will be announced. The article written by the social media users after the attack attracted great attention. The realization of the scenarios in the article written immediately after the events raised doubts. It is not clear whether Moscow organized such an operation or not. But however, it is known that Moscow has used unusual methods throughout the war to manage the perception and turn the process into a winning one. Some Russian dissidents commented on the situation by referring to the past events. Comparisons were made with a similar incident in 1999 when false flag violence was allegedly used to justify the war between Chechnya and Russia. Russia is a police state that fails when it tries to police anything other than unarmed, peaceful protesters, said journalist Alexei Kovalev. I'm more convinced that ever that this or the Moscow bombing in 1999 are really Putin's false flag, he said. Researchers Pekka Kalonium also commented on this issue. There is no point in making big statements about the Moscow shooting, but all would not rule out a false flag operation, he said. The Russian security service said that what Putin did in 1999 to justify the Second Chechen War and to improve Putin's popularity and images as a strong leader is similar to recent events. The allegations that emerged after the attack in Moscow have also made the people of Russia very uneasy. The people of Russia have been struggling with huge problems in recent times. The burden of the Russian economy, which had deteriorated due to the war, had lowered the living standards of the Russian people. The Russian people were having difficulties in accessing resources, and it had become very difficult to meet basic needs such as fuel and medicine throughout the country. After the attack in Moscow, it became clear that the Russian people's security concerns have increased in addition to their economic concerns. Public order and problems across Russia were allegedly on the agenda, while the numbers of police officers resigning from the Russian police force was increasing day by day. The problems across Russia were also increasing. While it was getting more and more difficult to ensure peace and security, the attack increased the fears of the Russian people. After Vladimir Putin won the elections in Russia, a new era has begun. The Kremlin administration, which tried to hide the country's plight until the election, is now finding it difficult to continue. Recent events have also highlighted the state of security services in Russia. So, what do you think about Moscow attacks? And do you think the Moscow attack could really be a false flag operation? How do you interpret the statements of the Russian opposition? And do you think Ukraine could have a role in attacks? How do you think the new Putin era in Russia will be? As you know, I care a lot about your views, so please share it with me.